Hey everyone, and welcome back to 4.4.1, writing a quadratic function in intercept form from roots. And so intercept form is going to look like f of x equals some number a times, and here's where we're going to have our factors. So it might be x plus a times x minus b. This is also called factored form. So if you look, we can see that we've got our factors in the equation itself. So to start, if we know our solutions, we know our zeros, we know our x-intercepts, to start writing our function in intercept form, or that factored form, we start by saying x equals each of our zeros. So x equals 1/2, x equals 3. And what we do next is we're working our way backwards from how we solve and how we factor and solve to be able to write our own equation. And so the first thing we're going to do is take, for instance, x equals 3 and subtract 3 from both sides so that I get I get x minus 3 equals 0. I'm taking my solution x equals 3 and I am turning it back into a factor by getting one side d equals 0. And I do the same, something very similar with x equals 1/2, but take notice here that if there are any denominators, we want to multiply both sides by that denominator. So the first thing I'm going to do is multiply everything by 2, so I get 2x equals my numerator 1, and then I get subtract 1 from each side, and I get 2x minus 1 equals 0. So all I do is I multiply by my denominator, and then I add or subtract the numerator. Finally, to put this in form, we say f of x, or the value of the function of x, equals a. We'll talk about how we find out what that value is later. We don't know what our a value is quite yet. Times my two factors, so 2x minus 1 and x minus 3. So go ahead, pause the video, and give these practice ones a shot, and then when you're ready, unpause, and we'll go through them together. Okay, so let's take a look at a here. The zeros -1 and 3. I'm going to start off x equals -1, x equals 3. And I'm going to use inverse operations to get one side equal to 0 again. So I'm going to add 1 to both sides in the left case, so I get x plus 1 equals 0. And I'm going to subtract 3 in the other case so that I get x minus 3 equals 0. And I just take that x plus 1 and that x minus 3, and I put them together. And those are my factors. And then we don't know what a is yet. We don't know what our a value is, so we're just going to leave it there. We don't know if we have a stretch or compression because we actually need a third point to determine that. So if we try the next one, 3 and -7, we're going to start off again, x equals 3, subtract 3 from both sides to get x minus 3, and -7, so that I start x equals -7, and I add 7 to both sides, and I get x plus 7. Only thing I really have to do then is add an a, and the f of x equals. So if we are given a graph, we actually have to find what our solution is, in this case 5 and 7. And then we can work backwards and say, well, x equals 5. It's not a very good 5. And x equals 7. And then we can use inverse operations again to get x by it, or to get everything onto one side and everything else equal to 0. And so I get x minus 5 and x minus 7. Now those are going to be my factors. So again, the only thing I really have to add is I have to put it in intercept form, and I'm going to leave that a there because we don't know what it is yet. We'll talk about how to find it in the next video. Same thing here. I've got x equals -4, so I'm going to add 4 to both sides, get x plus 4. I've got x equals +2, so I subtract 2 from both sides to get x minus 2. And great, let me know if you got any questions. Feel free to send me a message, and if not, we'll see you in the next video.